I'll never complain about a downpour of big-budget games, but looking at October's schedule is already exhausting.
What the actual fuck?
Which is why it's so refreshing to find a little hidden indie gem among the big hitters. Developed by Webisoft, a one-man team from my neck of the woods down in Hobart, Tasmania, Bilkins Folly takes that hidden gem analogy, buries it on a secluded island, and scratches down a little map for you to find it. Our red-headed protagonist, Percy Bilkins, takes to the open ocean in search of his missing mother and grandfather, and maybe a bit of hidden treasure along the way. But, as it does, fate intervenes, stranding him on a deserted island with nothing more than his wit and a sense of direction, as well as his trusty canine companion, Drayton. With the help of a friendly ghost and some conveniently placed signs and map fragments, we're introduced to the game's driving mechanic, hunting for buried treasure. Simple directions and clues lead you to an unmarked grave, giving you that first taste of puzzle-solving success and the thrill of finding hidden loot. Finding a shovel and setting off towards a neighbouring island on an unconventional vessel, Percy's new adventure begins. Wearing its old-school Zelda influence on its frilly sleeves, Bilkins Folly is a classic adventure game through and through. Exploring various islands, you'll meet a diverse range of swashbucklers, thieves, redcoats, and even an undead musician, each with their own tale to tell and quest to give. Percy will progressively gain new skills and find equipment to aid him on his journey. Starting with nothing more than the shovel, you'll eventually find use for a pickaxe, rope, and much more, allowing you to revisit previously inaccessible areas and unearth even more trinkets and gold. Sure, tools are great, but they're pointless unless you know where to use them. By chatting with townsfolk and snooping around ruins, you'll come across various treasure maps and scribbled notes that point towards buried bounty. Early maps are simple, start here, go there, while others require some actual cartography skills. Using a map of each explored island, you can utilise a ruler, pencils, and markers to plot your treasure tracking course. Furthermore, Percy can count his steps by holding down a trigger, letting you live out all your cartoon pirate fantasies. It's a unique level of tangibility that few games explore, and it's very satisfying when you find your target, even if the loot isn't always that exciting. There is a huge amount of treasure to be found out in the game world, and they all fall into three main categories: quest items, pieces of 8 that are used as currency, and junk items that are used to complete a larger puzzle that spans across the campaign. While it's more about the journey than the destination, finding junk item after junk item left me a bit unenthused after a while.
Oh, god damn it.
Digging up wearable helmets or items that boost Percy's ability would have helped me keep invested, but eventually I started to ignore those non-essential goodies. Your furry friend Drayton is more than just a good boy that accepts all the pats. He's a little treasure hunting hero in his own right. He'll often sniff out loot and let you know with a little bark, even lending his tiny little paws to the digging effort. Through his skill tree, you'll be able to teach him new commands, like stay, go to a certain spot, or to scoop him up to avoid muddy puddles. It's a cute addition that gives the good boy some added depth, though I do wish there was a skill that would prevent him getting stuck in the environment, because that does happen a lot. Making it through to the end of Percy's adventure will take around 10 to 15 hours, depending on your skills of deduction and your patience. Several mini-games that simulate lockpicking, fishing, and solving puzzles are found throughout the world. Lockpicking, while odd, is pretty inoffensive as you slot shapes into a puzzle board, while other activities, like fishing in particular, are poorly explained and actually a bit tedious. Tinkering around with awkward mechanics that only pop up here and there can get pretty frustrating, and while this can ultimately be skipped, the option is only offered to you after you've struggled at it for a good long while. Each of the islands has a colourful cast of characters that are brought to life in a charming pixel art style. From beachy archipelagos to cobblestone cities, all of the locations are filled with life and cute little details that will make you smile. Worms writher about as you dig, Drayton's ears bob around, and all of the characters throw their arms around like Conor McGregor walking to the octagon. This charm continues with the interactions with other characters. The light-hearted writing is filled with quips and jokes that wouldn't feel out of place in the Monkey Island games. Unfortunately, for as pretty as the game is, it's not without its technical issues. I ran into several moments where I couldn't select conversation options, the cursor would make its way to the actual game world, forcing a restart, and one quest giver just didn't spawn until I had to reboot a few times. Worst of all though is the dip in performance when there's more than 5 or so characters on screen at once. Even while running, the entire game would slow down so severely that it would feel like I'm moving through molasses. Pirates are well explored in video games, but Bilkins Folly manages to corner an aspect of the pirate life that doesn't get much love. Using real cartography skills in this beautiful pixel art world is fun, and the story of Percy and his family course that unfolds is an entertaining one. The technical woes, clunky side activities, and unfulfilling rewards do sully the overall experience, but Bilkins Folly more than proves its concept in the ways that matter, leaving me excited to see where Webisoft goes next with Percy and Drayton.